Alocasia. It's big. It flowers. It has big, dramatic leaves. It is very different from the elephant ear or the Colocosia. Hi everyone, it's Tim. Welcome back to my tropical garden in New York where, yes, it's a cold climate, but I'm still growing lots of jungle plants. And that's what we're going to talk about today because it is my midweek video. And that means I'm going to try to stick to 1 or 2 plants, which is nearly impossible for me, but I'm going to try. So today we are talking about Alocasia or Alocasia, depending on how you want to say it. I looked that up. There's different ways to say this plant's name, but I'm probably going to stick to both because I'll just keep doing it because I actually say it both ways and I often forget what I'm doing when I say it, so I might just go for it. Anyway, it's a great plant. I'm going to try to stay out of the sun here. It is a great plant. It's very dramatic. It has big, big leaves. It adds a lot of tropical drama to your garden, but, and I mean but, it is a little difficult as far as overwintering. All of you are probably familiar with elephant ears. Elephant ears are really, really easy because they can be dug up at the end of the season, the tubers put away. If you start them early in the spring, they come back, they grow really, really fast, they look great. The difference is the leaves kind of go down. The Alocasias, they go up and they don't grow quite as fast as the elephant ear, so that's why we have to talk about the difference here. So I have 2 methods. One is to chop off the plant in the fall, put the tubers in a box and put them away just like elephant ears, which is a very, very easy method, but there's some consequences to that. And then I'm also going to talk about overwintering the entire plant inside, which has some challenges, but then you get very dramatic results really early in the spring, and we're going to talk about both today. So here we go. This one was overwintered inside, and these leaves are actually kind of small because it's still July. And what I find is in the garage, they will leaf out gigantic. I mean really, really, really big. And when you put them out in the spring, those big, gigantic leaves usually just kind of wither off and die. And then you get these more compact leaves early in the summer. And then by fall, of course, right before I'm going to bring them in, they will have gigantic leaves, which is amazing. And it's kind of amazing inside too, because when I bring them in, I'll trim them up and not leave a lot of leaves, but I will have those big, big, gigantic leaves all winter long, giving my inside a very tropical look. And if you have a party or something and you want to cut one of those big leaves off, it always looks so great and dramatic. And people are like, where did you get this? I'm like, it's from my garden. So I like that. What is challenging with these is they are a pest magnet inside. So this is where you have to weigh out what you want to do. When you have big, gigantic tropical leaves like this, you often have pests. And I don't want to scare you away from doing this because they're so beautiful and big and wonderful that just because you have a few pests inside, you just have to deal with it. And one thing I find is because the leaves are so big, if you have lots of tropical plants inside and you want to know, oh, I'm wondering if I'm having any pest problems, rather than finding them on other plants way too late and you're like, oh my gosh, I've got such a problem here. With these plants, you're going to see it right away. So what tends to happen is on the back of the leaves, you will find mealybugs or spider mites. I seem to have more problems with mealybugs with these than spider mites, but you might have both. And what I do is I either spray with a horticultural oil or just straight out rubbing alcohol, and that usually keeps them at bay. If it's really severe, you could use some pesticides, but I think it's worth it. I think it's worth it to have these big, beautiful leaves. So if you see, I have definitely sprayed in here with horticultural oil. So they're nice and shiny, and there's some really big leaves in here. You can just kind of see from scale on that, but I'll try to find, here I can show you. If you look on the back, they're definitely existing in here, and I'm hoping these are all dead because they've been sprayed. And that, yeah, they appeared. When you touch them and they kind of disintegrate, that's usually when they're dead. If you touch them and they kind of feel like they have some, they're still kind of moist, that's usually when they are still alive. But when spring hits, I can go outside, and I'm going to put my hand up here so you can see how big. I mean, these are huge. And so I can start with a gigantic big plant and get immediate impact. There's another one back over here I'll show you. Way back over there, but so I get immediate impact on that, and that's why I do it. But you do have to tend with the pest. Let's talk about care a little bit. They love water. In fact, they're all wet right now because it rained last night, because it just rains and rains and rains here in New York this season. But they love fertilizer. They love water. I spray these with Miracle Grow almost all the time. I also have another fertilizer I put around the roots. The more you fertilize, the bigger they will get. This one is flowering. In fact, I have many that are flowering. I'm going to show you those. I just read on the internet that they said getting them to flower is kind of rare, which I find crazy because mine are always flowering every single season. And then oddly enough, even though I am in zone 6B, I don't know how this happens, but they do go to seed, and somehow the seeds make it through the winter, and I will often find them coming up all on their own in the spring. This past winter was really severe. I did not find any on the ground, but in past winters, I would be looking around and be like, oh, I've got Alocasia coming up, which is a really nice thing. But the flowers are not exactly beautiful. They're not ugly, but I'm going to show you some of those. Here are just a few more of the Alocasias that are about to bloom. The flowers are about to open on it. They're not quite yet. But I also want to talk about the stem on the Alocasias versus the elephant ear. The Alocasias, it's almost like the tuber exists out of the ground. You can get a 3-4 foot stalk of, I hate calling it the tuber, but it looks just like the tuber. I'm going to show you right here. So you've got the leaves at the top at the growth point, but it's very different from the elephant ear in that the growth point happens at the top of, for lack of a better term, the tuber that is out of the ground. So here you can see there's the growth point, and below it is this stem that almost looks like it should be underground, but it's not. And this is what gives it the height and makes it really different from the elephant ear, which I really, really like this difference. I am back here under one of my bananas, but here's a great Alocasia right here. It is blooming, it's got a bud on it. And then I've got some elephant ears, the opposite down here. And I know it's really hard to see, I'll zoom in on these. But this is the difference. And I started these elephant ears very, very late this year. I did not start them in pots, otherwise they would be nice and big and dramatic too. They're just a little behind. And here's a closer look. They are very pretty, and they get really, really big fast. Faster than the Alocasia if you bring the Alocasia in and chop off all the leaves. But what I'm saying in this video is don't do that, because look here. These I chopped off, put in a box. I did start them late, but they've been out here probably a month and a half, and this is all the growth I've gotten out of them. Now you can see at one point I had them inside because they have those nice long stems, but see, you're not getting the effect you want right away. If you bring them inside and keep the leaves on, you get the effect. If you treat them like an elephant ear and put them in a box and lose the leaves, then it takes them longer than the elephant ears to come back. So how would I rate these Alocasias? I am going to give them a conservative 8. I almost gave them a 7 just because they're a little bit difficult in the wintertime with the pest and having to make sure they're okay, but I think it's an 8. I think you should do them. I think they definitely give you that tropical feel, and I think you will love them. I hope this has made you really want to get an alocasia, or at least an elephant ear, but they definitely add a tropical flair to your garden. Whether you have just a perennial garden, an English garden, a tropical garden, all of those, it adds height, it adds beauty. I think you will really love it. And if you're new to my channel, this is my midweek one. I do another one on Saturday that's usually longer and I talk a whole lot more, but I show a lot more plants, I promise. And please comment. I love conversing with all of you. I try to answer every comment I see on there. So if you ask a question or comment and I don't get back to you right away, bug me. Go, Tim, you said you answer everything. And I do. I try really, really hard. Anyway, thank you so much for watching. I hope you have a great week, and I will see you on Saturday.